Good morning. Here we are. It's Wednesday. It's October. The leaves are turning. Things are starting to cool off a bit. And I hope that this morning this video finds you well. And I hope that you look forward to seeing our ribbon candy this morning. We have two different kinds of ribbon candy. And what you're going to notice is the difference in the templates. This is the regular ribbon candy, okay? And this one comes in a 6-piece set, 1 inch. Oh, there's our 1 inch. It's a real little guy, all the way up to 6 inches. And 6 inches is actually pretty darn big here, okay? We're not gonna work quite that large this morning, and we're not gonna work quite this small. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick to a 3-inch. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Carla. How are you doing this morning? Okay. Oh, Carla thinks this looks very interesting. Get your And it is very interesting, Carla. Okay, sunny in Atlanta, Kim said. That is such good news. Maureen is here from Kansas. Evelyn, good morning. Christina's here from Stockholm, and Linda just made it in. Bev is here from Ontario. Good morning, my Canadian friend. And Carol is here from New York. We're going to have a great group this morning, I can see. Okay, so what's going to happen here is we are going to do both of these. But what we're going to do is we are going to highlight the differences in them. And one difference that you can easily see is this is the skinny ribbon candy. The skinny ribbon candy looks like a drumstick. Okay. Hi, Susan. Good morning. Ty, good morning. So it looks like a drumstick, whereas this does look more like ribbon candy. The skinny ribbon candy comes in a 4-piece set with a 1 inch, 1.5, 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5 inch. Donna drew out some beautiful instructions here, some beautiful instructions on making an edge-to-edge fill right here, and some very unique rows here. Not sure we're gonna get to all of this today, but we're gonna give it the old college try. So now some of you are going to notice that we are going to do a corner treatment today, okay, which is really kind of cool. Lee, good morning. Debbie, hi. How are you this morning? And Linda's here as well. Oh my goodness, you guys, awesome. I love it. You keep coming back. I must be doing something right. So let's go ahead and get started on how these are stitched out. I think that is the first thing that we need to look at. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with my 3-inch template. Regina, good morning. Danielle, good morning. Lois is here from Delaware as well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so this is the 3-inch. Just going to turn myself around here. Lois, Danielle, good morning. Kathy, you made it. Good morning. Wanda from across town. Good morning, Wanda. I'm going to give you a call in a little bit here later on this morning. Um, yeah, we've got a good group. Well, we always have a good group in here. It's just fun. Morning, Jan. 42 degrees in southeast Nebraska. Yeah, it's kind of cool here this morning too. I guess we're supposed to get frost sometime this week. I don't know if that's true or not because the weather changes hourly, which is sometimes a good thing. Okay, so what we're going to notice on this is this horizontal center line. And then you've got a horizontal center line at the top of the design and at the bottom of the design. Okay, the vertical center line is here. It actually is not quite centered in the design itself. It's more centered in each half of the design. So you've got a vertical line here for the halfway on this part of the template and a vertical line here for this part of the template, if that makes any sense. And it will once we start using it. It also has this beautiful A-B marking. And that is going to teach us exactly how to work, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start, move you in just a little bit here so that it's easier to see. I'm kind of getting cattywampus here this morning. There we go. I apologize. I usually have more luck getting this set up beforehand. Oh, actually, I was watching last night. Carla's here. Oh, 55 degrees. Good morning, Terry. How are you? Oh, wow. Yeah, it is cooling off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start on that center line. I'm going to pull my thread up, get that bobbin thread up. Okay, so we're going to come through the needle channel with the thread and we're going to bring it over here to the A and set that down. Okay, I have this horizontal line lined up. Good morning, Diana. Bermuda. Oh my gosh, I hope it's beautiful down there. I'm sure it is. I can't imagine you folks ever getting bad weather in Bermuda. Okay, here we go. Going to take my one stitch in place and I'm going to stitch all the way around to B. Now, because this is such a beautifully thought out curve, you don't really need to worry too much about staying on one side or the other. The foot is going to fit quite nicely in the channel. And once you see how easily this template stitches out, I know that you're going to want it in your collection. This is a great template um, for borders. And one of the things that I do want to show you this morning is how to turn a corner with it. Linda, good morning. No problems, no problems. Okay, here we go. I'm going to get rid of that. Now I'm going to flip my template around. I'm staying at B. I'm lining up the previous line of stitching with this beautiful edged line that's all set up for us here. Lining myself up. If you want to double check, this is always a good place to double check to make sure that you've got your 1/4 of an inch, and we do. So here we go. Now we're going to go ahead and complete another rotation. Around we go. This is such an easy template, guys. I can't believe it. And it just grazes the previous rotation beautifully. Now we're going to come back. We stop at A and we are on our halfway line. And again, we're just going to turn that template. That makes it so much easy. Okay, Maureen asked a question, and Maureen, that's a great question. Do you have to choose a side to follow, or does the foot fit snug? Maureen, it fits snug. There's no need to choose one side or the other. Okay. Once in our life, we don't have to choose a side, right? That's always a good thing. It's best when when you're watching football too, trust me. So it fits beautiful, it fits snug, and we don't have to worry about that. We're gonna do another rotation here because this just turns out so beautiful, and it is so easy to do. Now, because this is a curve, I do tend to keep my stitches a little shorter on it because it's going to give me a smoother curve. If you have your stitches long, it's going to look a little choppier. Okay, so we're going to come right here. Beautiful. We're at B, so now we're just going to rotate the template and we're going to stitch back to A. And this will be our last rotation we're going to do here on this side. And around we're going to go. Now what I do want to show you is I want to show you the little itty bitty one. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop here. I am going to just put my foot up and wind my way around and out of this template. What do you think? Isn't that clean, easy? I mean, seriously, do you have to order a special foot in order for it to fit snug in the channel? Priscilla asked. That's a good question, Priscilla. What we need to do is when we are working with Westerly templates and rulers, we want to have the Westerly foot. The foot is made so that it is what happens is our needle will be 1/4 of an inch away from the outside of the foot all the way around. Okay, depending on the machine that you have, Bernina has its own ruler foot. Otherwise, Westerly can fit any machine that you have with the foot. We have the foot comes in high shank, medium shank, low shank. There's also a special, and this particular one happens to be a slant shank because I'm working on a Singer 301, which is a vintage machine, and it does have a slant shank on it. So we are able to fit your machine. All you need to do is call So Steady if you're unsure what you need, and they will be more than happy to make sure that you get the proper foot for your machine. I hope that answers your question, Priscilla. Okay, I'm just going to come down here a little ways, and then what we're going to do is we are going to look at the small or the itty bitty. Okay, we're just going to come down. There we go. Now, the itty bitty you'll see is very different. And yes, it is stitched differently. So what I want you to notice is here are the directions. We're going to go from A to B, and then we're going to turn our template and go from B to A. Turn it again, A to B, B to A. So it's not difficult to do. It really is not. I'm going to go ahead, put it on. I am lining up. I want you to see this. Okay, this I think is important. I'm going to line, this horizontal line here with the center of my design. Here is the top and here is the bottom. I'm going to start here, come around, and then I'm going to flip my template like this and come back. So it's not hard to do, not at all. And this itty bitty actually comes in two sizes. Okay, this is the 2 inch, this is the 1 inch, and we'll go ahead and give this one a little bit of a try too. Good morning, Kim. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. So here we go on the itty bitty 2 inch, and we're just going to come all the way around from A to B. Again, keeping those stitches just a little bit smaller. Now I'm going to flip it, and what you'll notice is our stitching falls underneath that edged line right there. And there we go. Didn't have it lined up quite right. Now I'm going to go from B to A. And I'm going to stop again on that halfway mark. And now I'm going to again go from A to B. And we're just going to make sure we're all lined up here, which we are, making sure that my horizontal line falls on the horizontal line that I have drawn in. And you see, again, this just grazes the rotation before, which makes it look beautiful. And we're going to come down to B, stop with our needle down, and now we're going to turn our template over, and we're going to stitch back to A. I fell off the template just a little bit there. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, and let's do one more. We're going to come from A to B. There we go. A little bit difficult for me to see with the camera in the way here. And there we go to B and B to A. And then we will stop. Now, whoops, my foot just cut loose on me. There we go. Okay, no worries, we got it. So now what I'm going to do, here is the 3 inch. This is the 2 inch. I'm going to show you a few rotations with the 1 inch. Simply because it's so doggone cute, isn't it? I love it. Good morning, Jeannie. How are you this morning? Okay, same exact process. We're going to go from A to B. And this is a great template for sashing, isn't it? That 1 inch is just fabulous. Okay, now we're going to go from B to A. I'm going to stop, turn, and now we're going to go from A to B again. Same process as the 2 inch. It's just a little smaller. Okay, it's a lot smaller. It's half the size. All righty, here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna need one more stitch. There we got it. Making sure everything's lined up. Oops. Okay, now this is interesting because I don't know if you guys can see this real well. Good morning, Jim. These templates are called ribbon candy. They are from Donna Quilting. And what I did here is I didn't have the foot perfectly seated under the A. That is the way I got tipped off to that is when I looked here, my stitches did not fall under that, under the etched line. So now when I go ahead and I line everything up, you'll see that it comes out perfectly. So it pays to check these lines here, and we're going to just go ahead and scoot off. So here was what we have so far. We have get a 3-inch, a 2-inch, and a 1-inch. Okay, these things are so awesome. They really are. They stitch out beautiful. The curve is gentle. It's easy to figure out. So let's do the same thing here with the skinny. Okay, the skinny templates. Again, the difference being is that they do look very different. Put this right side up. So here's our 3-inch ribbon candy. This is a 3.5-inch skinny ribbon candy. Okay, let's take the 3.5-inch to start with. How are we doing so far? Is there a 4-inch? Yes, there is with the regular ribbon candy. Okay, I'm going to grab these again and I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to go ahead and pull this way out so you can really see the different sizes. The largest is a 6-inch. Okay, now here's the 6-inch compared to the 3-inch. It comes all the way around here. So that is huge. That is huge. And then we have the 5-inch, and that's compared to the 3-inch here. So it's quite a bit larger. And then we have the 4-inch, and 4-inch seems to be kind of a standard for border sizes. So you definitely do have that 4-inch template. Good morning, Patsy. How are you? And then, of course, we did the 3-inch, and that is this one here. And lo and behold, that fits just right inside. And then we have the 2-inch and the 1-inch, and those are stitched a little differently, and I showed you that here. Here is the 2-inch. We stitch from A to B, flip it over, B to A, flip it over. It's not difficult to do. It really isn't. And then we have our little 1-inch. So what's really kind of cool about this set of templates is that you can use the 4-inch in your border and the 1-inch in your stashing, and it ties everything together. Kathy said, "Do I carry these? My other rulers arrived promptly." Well, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. I would need to look to see if I do have them in stock, okay? And I will let you know, all right? Cynthia's here from Fort Worth. Good morning and welcome. And Jan is here. Would you have a 5-inch border to use the 4-inch? Okay, so Jan, what I would do is probably yes. And the reason that I would do that is because I like a little breathing space when I do my borders on the top and on the bottom. In other words, what I'm saying is I am one who if we end up getting off a little bit. Okay, so this is a 2-inch design here. And this would be a 3-inch border. Let me go ahead and put that in here so you can see better. Okay, so here is a 3-inch border with a 2-inch design. Whoops, I just lost my pencil. There we go. Let's get on top. Okay, so what I'm talking about with breathing space is I like to have a little bit of space between my seam line, and here's my other seam line right here, and the design. And the reason being is if we have that seam line come right here, sometimes what I found in my history happens is that I have a hard time getting over the bulk of the seam. Okay, especially if it's all stitched or all pressed to the side that I'm doing the ruler work on. Because what's going to happen then from about here to here, you're going to have that bulk to get over. And that means you're going to be adjusting your foot often. So by giving yourself a little room on the top and on the border, and sometimes I do a 1/4 of an inch, sometimes I do a 1/2 inch. It kind of just depends on the day and how I'm feeling. I know that sounds weird, but you know, and the design also will dictate to me whether I need more breathing space or less breathing space. So on a 3-inch border, I would use a 2-inch design, and on the 4-inch border, I would use the 3-inch design. So what that's going to give me is it's going to give me this space at the top and the same at the bottom, just like that. And to me, that just makes sense. And I think that's a throwback for me from the days when I used to produce art. And we always put a border or a mat in our pictures between the frame and the picture itself, and that gave your eye a place to rest. So you weren't focusing on the picture frame and then the picture itself. You had the frame, a place to rest, and then the picture. And I think I like to do that the same way with my borders. Oh, you're welcome, Jan. Kathy or Carla says balance. And Carla, you're absolutely right. You want to balance things. You don't want to just throw a whole bunch of stuff and get as much as you can. It's kind of like putting 3 pounds of trash in a 2-pound bag. You don't want to do that. You do want to have just a nice, beautiful balance here. Okay. So I got off on my tangent. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so let's move aside with the regular ribbon candy right now for a minute, and let's go ahead and take a look at the skinny, okay? Or as I like to call it, the drumstick. Yes, the drumstick. Part of my favorite part of the chicken. Most people like white meat. I like that dark meat. It's a lot moister. Oh, there, had to get a little more caffeine in me. Okay, so what's going to happen here is we are going to stitch this in the same manner. I'm going to do it this way. It's going to be easier. So I'm going to line up my horizontal line. There we go. Jan asked if I'm doing cross hatching, would I do the same? In other words, leaving a breathing space. You know, Jan, that is a really, really good question. And the answer is yes and no. Okay. I'll bet you guys love it when I do that. It would depend on the design that I'm working on. If it was a border, I probably would. I would probably leave a breathing space. I would just go ahead and let me find a little piece here that I can draw on. What I would do is I would go ahead and do my cross hatching. And this is not really good cross hatching, but that's okay. All right, and do another one. There we go. So here is my border, right? I'm going to make one more line here. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to come up, I'm going to come over, and I'm going to come back down. By doing it this way, I can travel in my seam allowance. If I were to do it with a little bit of a breathing space, I'm going to come up, I'm going to come over, I'm going to come down. What's going to happen is this line could get extremely heavy. Now, some designs can handle that heaviness of being stitched over and over and over again. And it actually adds a component to the design. However, others maybe not so much. For example, if I was doing a lightly quilted baby quilt or a lightly quilted quilt for a lady, say with lots of flowers and very light and airy, I would probably come into the seam allowance because these repeated traveling stitches are going to be hidden. Out here, they are not. So again, I look at the overall design that I'm going for, and then I will make that decision. The other thing that I like to caution people about when you're doing many traveling a lot over here, what's inevitably going to happen is you're going to have this one's going to be real heavy, this one's going to be less heavy. Okay, so what I do is I'll go back and I will stitch one line of stitching over the whole thing. And that seems to solidify and make it all look the same weight. And what I'm talking about is with weight is how many lines of stitching are on top of another, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Jan. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take a look at skinny designs here, the skinny ribbon candy. And we're going to start at A, we're going to end at B, and we're going to flip our template, just like we did on the other one. This is not a difficult design to do. Okay, and pull that bobbin thread up. I don't have a whole lot. There we go. It did. It worked for me. I do have, come on you. I do have staple tape on both sides. Actually, I put staple tape on both sides of almost all of them. Now, one other really cool thing about ribbon candy, not the skinny ribbon candy, but the regular ribbon candy, is it's easy to turn a corner with. Okay, here we go. Stitch in place. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to just, oh, I only got one. There we go. We got two now, right? All right. Here is my drumstick. So if you're doing a chicken quilt, which isn't really all that funny because my daughter was raising chickens for a while, and I did a chicken quilt for her, and it turned out absolutely darling. I love it. Okay, so what's happening here is I've got a little bit Come on, there we go. I just have a little bit of an area here that isn't real cooperative. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, oops, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come over here and come back to A. I'm not flipping this one like the small ones. And we're going to make another rotation. Again, we have etched lines to make sure that we're properly aligned. And we're going to stitch again from A to B. I got off my template just a little bit there. No worries, this is practice, right? Now, this right here is where I'm having my foot catch up a little tiny bit, but it's no worries. I'm just going to go ahead and push that through. And we're going to take that and go over to A again. Okay, now this time I'm going to tell you straight out. I'm going to show you my mistake, okay? I always tell people don't point out your mistakes, but hi, Patsy. No worries about being a little late. I don't take attendance. And Mary Lou from Western New York. Welcome, Mary Lou. It's nice to see you here. So this is where I flattened out a little bit. And the reason I did that is I was looking over here thinking about that. So what I'm going to do, what's going to happen here is this, when we get to this point, it's not going to have that beautiful little join there. And let me show you what I mean by that. It's still important to line everything up. Off we go. Oh, I guess it did because it was down far enough that it doesn't really interfere with the portion where we touch there. Okay. Oops, there we go. So this is our skinny ribbon candy. Now the difference between the larger size and the smaller size with the skinny ribbon candy is, remember that we had to flip our template. With the little one, we don't have to do that. Let me show you. We're going to put the little guy in here and just do a couple rotations with him, and then I want to talk about turning a corner. Okay, here we go. Boy, I'm not leaving myself much room with that bobbin thread, am I? But that's okay. That's okay. Down, there we go. Let me pull this up a little bit. There we go. Hi, Sue. Sue is here from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome. It's so good to see you. Okay, I'm going to hold this thread back for a couple stitches. And then we're going to take off. Now, with the small one, you stand a larger chance or a greater chance of falling off of this little edge here. So when you come around it, slow down. You want it to be nice and smooth. Take your time. Come around, keeping those stitches smaller. They just are going to look prettier. Okay, B, we have stitched to B. So now what we're going to do is slide our template over to put our foot into the A slot, and around we're going to come. When I first started doing these templates, I looked at them and went, "Oh no, I'm gonna cross over. It's not gonna fit." Trust the template. It fits. Okay? I think that these templates are more accurate than our eyes are. Okay, do a little squishing around there, but that's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. And around we're gonna go. And I'm going to do one more rotation, and then we'll take a look at the smaller ribbon candy, okay, our 1.5 inch. So what you're going to notice is that the regular ribbon candy comes in whole inch increments, whereas the skinny ribbon candy comes in 1/2 inch. So it's 1.5, 2.5, etc. Okay, there we go. Oh, isn't that pretty? It really is. And it works out beautifully. It's just an easy template to work. Either the regular ribbon candy or the skinny ribbon candy. They both work the same. Margaret and Gail and Willie, you made it. Willie's here from Windsor, Ontario. Good to see you. Thank you. Gail's here from Wichita, Kansas, and Margaret from Melbourne, Australia. So she's telling me that this class starts at 11 p.m. on the east coast of Australia. And thank you so much for staying awake, Margaret. And I would imagine at this time of year, you're starting to come into your springtime too. So hopefully your weather is getting nicer and nicer each day. Elizabeth from Pennsylvania, welcome so much. Okay, a little bit of caffeine there. So what are your thoughts so far? Are these awesome or not? I really like them. I've used them often. They have never disappointed me. I always get beautiful results with them. Okay, let's talk about the dreaded corners. We have two different corners that we're going to look at. We are going to look at the corners with our regular size templates, and then we're going to look at the corners with our small templates, and we're going to use the 2-inch, okay? This is going to be the 3-inch, I believe I made. Yep, 3-inch. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to start in the corner. And here it is. Donna put directions into our packages with how to turn the corners. And she put it out so beautifully. It's just so easy to follow these instructions, okay? You're definitely gonna find that it's not difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at this point right here, and this is going to be a partial rotation. Jan's got a thumbs up. Oh, Maureen, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. So this little guy is going to go first. And where do we find that little guy? Right here. Okay, from horizontal line to horizontal line. So you can see I drew it out first. I definitely wanted to make sure that I had everything correct before I started with you. Okay, so what I'm lining up here, and this is the important part, and I think Donna really has it spelled out very well. We're lining up our horizontal line. Now, I did put in these halfway marks. Um, I tend to always do that. It just helps me. It gives me another point of reference, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I need all the points of reference that I can get, because my mind is very simple, and I like to make things simple, even complicated things. I like to simplify them as much as possible. Linda likes the skinny ribbon candy a little more. Yeah, Linda, th either I'm glad I've got both. I'm gonna be honest. I really am glad I've got both because they serve very different purposes, but that skinny is just gorgeous. I just love it. Okay, so enough squirreling. I've gotta quit squirreling, get back to my task at hand here. So what I've got is I've got this diagonal line here, or the miter line, and then I brought out my halfway line all the way out. So what I'm doing is I am lining up this vertical line, and I'm lining up my halfway line so that this little crosshair right here, whoops, let me make sure we've got you here. And right there, this little crosshair comes right on my crosshair line. Okay. Thanks, Jan, for letting me know. Sometimes, this is where it really is helpful to have Ken here, but alas, he's still in bed. Okay, so let's go over this one more time, just so that I'm sure I'm in camera and you guys can see. I've got the 45-degree line. Here is my border. Now, because I like an extra piece of an extra rest area, my actual stitch border would be inside of here somewhere. I am lining up my vertical line, and I'm lining up my horizontal line just so that I'm falling on the crosshair. I'm going to come in, pull my bobbin thread up, and start at B or A, depending on which way you have the template turned. I'm going to come back to the horizontal line. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this in. I have to make an adjustment here. And I'm going to stop just shy of that horizontal line. There we go. Okay. Jane is here from Mount Vernon, Washington. Good morning, Jane. Good to see you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out. So what you can see here that I have, and I'm not going to take the needle out, is I've got basically 1/2 of the design. I'm going to go in this direction. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my template back on, and I'm going to start at A. Actually, I'm going to start, I'm sorry, it's not going to start at A. I'm going to line up my horizontal line. It's going to leave some empty here, some empty template here. Don't worry about that. It is more important to have this template horizontal line on your halfway line. And that's the reason I like that halfway line in there. Okay, so now we're going to go from A to B. All the way around. And we're going to stop at B. And I'm just gonna go just like that. Kind of like a carnival ride. And I'm back at A. Now, what I could have done is just slipped it, right? There's always more than one way to skin a cat. And this just brings us back to A. And this makes it a little easier for us, right? Lining up everything. Trust the template. As long as you're all lined up, everything's going to turn out perfectly. Okay. What happens if we get to the center and our lines and we just have we need to squeeze something together? Okay, Linda says she only has the skinny ribbon template, but she really likes this one. Linda, you won't be disappointed with this set, honestly. Okay, so if I need to move myself together so that I can fit another rotation in here, this is how I would do it. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that this is going to look the best or even work the best, but let's give it a shot, okay? A little caffeine there to keep me going. I've not done this before, so bear with me. I'm going to get to my vertical center right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move this over a hair, okay? Very little. And what's going to happen is I am going to just, you see, I'm actually going over the top of this last stitches, these last stitches right here. Over here, we're coming just to the edges. Here, I'm actually overlapping. So now I'm going to move that template over again, just a little bit. Now, mind you, this isn't going to work if it's going to be a whole half of um, if it's going to be a half of a design or not. So now you can't really pay a whole lot of attention to the etch lines because we've moved this on purpose. Okay. So again, I'm going to come over here, come up to almost my vertical center or to my vertical center. And you see, I'm not crossing over big time here. I'm just stitching on top of the previous line of stitching. And I'm going to move that over a little bit. Going to come around. Again, stitching on top of here. So if we need to make just little adjustments to keep going on our border and not have to stop or do something radical, that will work. You cannot tell the difference basically between the regular stitched, which is right here, and the squished ones that I did here. Okay. So now we've got half of our corner done. Let's go ahead and finish up the other half. And what we're going to do for the other half is the same. Well, hello. Okay, I'm gonna start with my B. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start with my A. I want to make sure that my horizontal line is lined up. That is the important part. If you have to start up here a little bit, which you will, okay? It's never going to come all the way down. So start here and let's hop in and go ahead out the other side. And there we go. We'll pull that bobbin thread up and get that foot down. Make it easier for you to see. I want to make sure you've got it. Ida, good morning. I didn't get a chance to say good morning to you. Alrighty. Lining up that horizontal line. Okay, and I'm going to smoosh this just a little bit because if I don't, I'm going to come way over on that line and I don't want to do that. So you'll see that worked out just fine. This area in the center here is going to overlap just a hair, and that's to be expected. There's really not a whole lot we can do about that. And because it's on a corner, it's not going to show as part of the normal design. And we're going to stop at B. I'm going to trim some threads off, put another rotation in here. I'm just going to twist that template, line everything up, and off we go. Now that is one easy corner. And I know we're always looking for ways to make corners with our templates. I think that's all we have room for. So we're going to go ahead and take it out. I'll trim the threads. Okay, so there is our corner, guys. Linda, you're right. Oh, Portia, good morning. Loving the corner. Me too. Isn't that awesome? It really turns out nicely. And bless her heart, Donna thought of that and made sure that we knew exactly how to do it. Turning corners can be the bane of our existence, so to speak, with our templates and rulers. So learning to do this, and as I said, Donna's got the directions right in the package, and they are easy to follow, very easy to follow. I did add the halfway mark because I always do. That's just me. I'm suspenders and belt kind of girl. What can I say? But it does work beautiful. Now, let's do one more thing here, and this is going to be with the skinny ribbon candy. Okay, what I'm going to do is, you see I've got the skinny ribbon candy already in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another layer to it. And I am going to line up my vertical center with this center of the already stitched in template. Okay, using my horizontal center line here. Well, come on, thread. Okay, my fingers just quit working, guys. Okay, so there we go. Make sure you guys can see this. I'm going to start at A. Let me show you a little trick here. I'm just going to take an emery board. That's all I'm going to need to do, and that is going to stop sticking. Okay, right here. There we go. When we find things like that, I'll send a note to Stacy to let her know that happened. Okay, I'm going to go from A to B. Just simple A to B. It's still sticking a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go and I'm going to move my template over, make sure my horizontal line is lined up. I'm also lined up with my previous line of stitching. Just slid just a hair. No worries. That's why we practice. And around we're gonna go. There we got it. There we go. Make sure your needle is down. And I'm going to do one more rotation here. Lining everything up. All the way down. And I'm going to stop right here to close the design. Okay, so I've closed it right here. And we're going to go ahead and clip those threads off. There we go. So here is just another way we can stitch in that skinny ribbon candy. Okay. Oh, hi, Marcy. Okay, so there's a couple of thank you, Mary Lou, Linda, and Linda. Oh, okay. There's a couple questions here. Okay, so Jan says, so you begin in the corner and then stitch to the ends. She usually starts her border in the middle of the ends. And what I did, Jan, is I started my border, yeah, right here. And then I moved in each direction. And what I showed you here was how to make this just a little bit smaller if you needed to make them meet in the center. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, so there was another question here. A comment. Linda said, since you taught us to do the center line and border class, I have to say it really helps you keep things a lot straighter. Yes, Linda, it does. And I need every bit of help that I can get. You've taken a couple classes from me now, so you know that. Mm, yeah, definitely. Lee likes it. The double stitch is gorgeous. Yes, it is, isn't it? You know, if you have, and because you could do it so many different sizes, if you have a quilt that you're doing, say you're doing blocks, and you have, if you're like me and you kind of go, okay, I got to get this quilt done. I don't have enough time to do all these blocks. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll intersperse a regular, just a plain block in between my quilt, my pieced blocks. And you want something really special to fill it up? There it is, right there. And Patsy is right. Templey would be gorgeous. You could Templey this inner diamond. You could Templey every other one of these footballs. There's so many different options available, and you just would be able to make that particular block, even though it's not pieced, you will make it look absolutely spectacular. Definitely. Priscilla asks, if you do the corner first, how do you get to the other corner and know before you get there that it will fit? That is where you want to make sure you've measured everything out and measured it correctly. Now, if you want, what you can do is after you've got this first corner in, okay, what we've got here is our design is one, let me see here. Okay, it's 1 and 5/8 inches wide. So what you can do is go ahead and make some marks. Okay, so here's the edge of my design. And I can mark down 1 5/8 inches like this. And you can do it down the whole border. And have I done this before? Yeah, I certainly have. I really have, to make sure that something's going to fit. Okay, so if I come up and I have, for example, only 1 1/2 inches here, not 1 5/8, what I will do is I will say, okay, how many times do I have to do this squishing to equal 1 1/2 as opposed to 1 5/8? So I will come into this particular design that I've done, and it is going to give me, oh, I've got to move over one, I'm sorry. It is going to give me 1 1/2 exactly, as opposed to 1 5/8. So if I squish these two, it's going to work out perfectly when I get to the other end. Okay? It's a lot of math, but it can be done. A lot of instructors also will tell you start at the corner, work towards the middle, start at the corner, work towards the middle. And I do like doing it that way. I actually really do. And I will go ahead and draw it out to see if I can go the full length. If not, what I will do is I will stop a design, say I come down here and finish up right here. Okay, so I'll finish up this design. I'll make a vertical stitching line, and then I'll put a motif in here. And then I'll go ahead and put a vertical line in here and start back up with my ribbon candy design. Does that help, Priscilla? I know it's a lot of answer to a simple question. Oh, this has been fun this morning. I'm really glad that we got a chance to do this particular set of templates. They are fun, they are versatile. There's so much we can do with them. I hope you consider them because and if you buy one, you might as well buy the second set too. The skinny as well as the regular ribbon candy, they're both very, very useful, and you can get a lot out of here. There's a lot of templates in this set. Priscilla, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. They're definitely on Lee's wish list now. So I'm so glad. Well, guys, it's been another wonderful morning with our caffeine. I don't say coffee because I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea, but I do drink Diet Mountain Dew, which gives me my caffeine jolt in the morning. Awesome. So thank you, Lee. Appreciate that so much. I want y'all to go out there, make it a great day. You're welcome, Regina and Linda and Linda. Make it a great day. Don't forget to practice your rulers every day because it's the more we practice, the better we're gonna get. And take those cheap fabrics or the oh my gosh, why did I buy those fabrics? That's what I use for my practice blocks. Thank you, Di. Appreciate it. And until we meet again, don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and all that fun stuff. I appreciate very much your comments that you leave for me, and they're really very flattering. I probably don't deserve all that, but I do appreciate it. I do get to read them and see what you've got to say. If you have any ideas, you need to contact me or just want to contact me, all of my contact information is on the So Steady page. It's sosteady.com under the education tab and then instructors, and you'll see me there. Don't forget, I'm available. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. So until we meet again, let's quilt.